Salam, this is Hubb'Allah, a writer, visionary, thinker, teacher, and homeschooling mom based currently in the Pakistan Himalayas. And I have been working on the ecological movement for about 20 years now. I think I started around 2005 when I quit my corporate job in media and then went on to work on disaster relief. And started working from home. And I knew that I was somehow more than really working from home. I was kind of exploring what is going to happen. Probably I should have worked as an influencer at that time because I didn't work from home as much as I discovered that you can work from home. I did eventually begin to write about the trends that I was seeing and the ways that the world was evolving. That was also in the aftermath of my working on that particular disaster that I worked on. Started having a lot of insights about how the world is going to change, and I wrote about that. I wrote about things like the rise of social enterprise. I was very interested in the business world. I started talking about how the developing world, which is also called the third world, is leapfrogging, is leaping forward ahead of developed nations using its own strengths. The fact that we have community, the fact that we have a lot of people, that the fact that we have a lot of diversity, that fact that we have ancient cultures, the fact that we have a lot of people who work with hand, the fact that we have cultures of hospitality, the fact that you have people available with time on the hands to care for you and love you, the fact that not everybody is sort of like in a rut, right? Um, and then we have technologies to leapfrog. For example, at one time, I think it was around 2005 only, that I wrote an article about how the internet is going to allow the developing nations to leap forward. That thing has come true. In my previous video, I was talking about how we have these various strains developing in the Himalayas, where I'm in the Pakistani Himalayas. In Pakistan, the Himalayas are structurally, politically, socially very different from Himalayas elsewhere. They're not this similar to Nepal, they're not similar to India, they're not similar to Bhutan, in the sense that there's a lot of indigenous local development that has to take place here. And we need more nativity in cultures, we need more protection. I think in one of my videos, not perhaps on this channel, talked about what native products are available in the Pakistan mountains. Because I believe in seeding. The key project that I've been very concerned about is seeding a new economy, and I want it to be a virtuous economy. I want it to be sustainable, and I want it to be regenerative. There were different streams of thoughts in my head, right? I wanted things to be creative because I love creativity. I love arts. I love good aesthetics. I love ways to express myself. Was one of my concerns. In terms of just development of self potential. I want to do things that I like. I wanted to do things that were not going to take me away from my family. So it was a design issue as well. I also wanted to follow the framework of my faith. And at one time, I thought that faith, in some ways, had given like a definitive list of things that you could do, but not really. What faith has done is to define the parameters of what is good, right, and permissible, and then within that, now here's the other piece of the puzzle coming together. Within that, our very creative personalities are going to keep on generating and populating, keep on generating things that we could do. For example, there are a lot of people who, within the framework of home businesses now, for example, they are creating a lot of things. There are people who are creating within the framework of small businesses or artisanal businesses. You say to them, okay, you're not going to work in a corporate career, you're going to do something artisanal by hand. And just today, I saw somebody's making these artisanal ice cubes. What they do is that they stamp these ice cube with words like keep it cool, and they embed flowers in those cubes, and each cube is like this big and selling for $10 a piece or something. artisanal cubes, and they made sales of about, they sold 3 million cubes or something. I thought, oh my goodness, they made like $30 million. It's amazing. Um, so you have to define parameters, and my parameters, like the biggest parameter, is coming from faith, because faith, or my religion, defines to me everything. It talks about things in because I'm a Muslim. In Islam, we say things should be halal, which is permissible, and then it goes on to define what is halal. And then tayyab. Tayyab means it should be clean. It should be. I used to think tayyab was like something that was physically clean, but then I also understood that yes, but it means its molecular structure should be clean. It should be purified, right? And halal is permissible. Halal is something which is you are allowed to do, which is ordained for you, which is yours. Um, so you can have something which is halal on you, like, I don't know, chicken, for example, is halal on you, and it's yours. But is it tayyib? Is it full of nasty chemicals? Then it's not really tayyib. Has it become contaminated or dirty somehow? Is it actually sort of literally fallen on the floor of the kitchen and stayed there for 2 minutes? It's not tayyib anymore. So I used to think that tayyib really meant that kind of visceral thing, but not really. It's talking about uh, going back in the supply and production chain and the whole process, for one thing, and perhaps it means something uh, esoteric as well, something that is intellectual as well, something to do with the process as well, and doesn't really talk about physical elements only. So this is what my understanding of it is. So I started looking into that. I started looking into what was good for the world. I started looking into what was not just right for me, but what was fair and good for the other as well. So now we are looking at social factors and economic factors. By the way, for me, they are contained within the faith. When I started bringing these things together, and I was also looking at contemporary technology, contemporary trends. So that is something that faith doesn't really, well, it kind of does define it for you, not in a direct fashion. It does ask you to be present. So when you are present, that you're present in terms of your production, you're present in terms of your personality, you're present, you're like on time, you're in your space and time. And that is something that may not have been directly written in the books of, like, it's not like a religious ordainment, but it is suggested. So if you go to spiritual masters, they would actually say that you need to be present, you need to be in your times, right? So you need to be relevant to time and place. Um, and then something that should be organically sprouted from your soul, and something that is connected to the earth. When I put all these, not just 2 and 2 together, but 20 and 25 and 28 and 29 together, all these factors together, something started emerging to me. I started feeling that our business should be local, they should be artisanal, they should be handmade. They should stem from our personalities and our dreams. So now we are also incorporating the psychic and the dream world. We are incorporating parts of our personality, which means that our personality parts are now woven into something and they get grounded, which means they aren't wandering about, leading to all sorts of mental illnesses or corruption or crimes. Okay? Because when people's potentials are not put to use, people become corrupt. And when they become corrupt, they bring corruption to land. They bring agitation problems for others. So now we have issues of law and order to deal with. We have social justice to deal with. We have stability to deal with. We have, rehabilitation, criminal rehabilitation to deal with. So that so much of all this morass that humans are creating, I understood that you can sort of ground that. You can sort of be rid of it by putting people, human beings, on a more purposeful and creative path. And this is a path of the eco-feminine that I speak of. It is not only for women. Women are the sort of sprouters of it, and then it sprouts for the rest of the economy. But I think if we are talking about the actual gender beings in person in this worldly and earthly realm, who's going to sprout the economy? It's not the men. It's the women who are going to sprout the economy, and then men can be engaged in it. Um, and that's that. So we're going to talk about that going forward. Thank you for being with me in this video. Thanks a lot.